Thank you. We are now live and I would like to call this meeting to order. It's a regular planning meeting of council for Monday, February 28th. The Municipality of Central Elgin would like to acknowledge that we gather on the land of the McKee Purchase, the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Attawandaron, and Mississauga Nation. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing and hearing none, would you read the motion concerning the minutes, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Fair, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council dated Monday, February the 4th, 2022 be adopted.
Any questions or concerns? If not, call the vote, please.
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Trevor?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. No delegations or no correspondence requiring action. We have 3 items for information. Does anyone have any questions or concerns before we pass a motion to take them all? Receive and file. The third one there, we're going to be discussing anyway later in the reports, so. Would you go ahead and read the motion, please, then?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that correspondence items number 1 through number 3 inclusive be received as information and filed.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Trevor?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn? Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. We're now into the Central Elgin Planning Office reports. So the first one is to deal with 61 Coulter Ave. Does anyone have any questions concerning this one? Councillor Rowe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think I understood this correctly. So the lot that's being severed belongs to the person on the west, but now once that's severed, it will belong to the same owner that has the other 2 on the north and the south side of that. Correct? And the comparison they made was to the Steeplechase Street, and those lots at the end of that cul-de-sac look very similar in size and look like they had sort of even access to the cul-de-sac. Whereas the one on Lexington Court, if they left that severed, the lot in this agenda item, that size, it's going to be bigger than the 2 on the north and the south side. And I don't get how you get access into those 2 lots, I guess. So I didn't know whether there was further severance consent applications expected because of that, so that they could then even out the size of them, or whether they were going to continue to just build as is.
There's going to be changes. Mr. Perrin, Mr. Brooks, sorry, or Mr. McClure, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, the purpose of the severance right now is to allow for that back portion to be severed off, and then there's going to be another process through land assembly to essentially create similar lots at the end of the cul-de-sac, like to the north on Steeplechase. So they will be going through a process to align and have the pie shape lot pattern similar to Steeplechase. It's just right now they're going through this process to sever off the rear so that they can go through that subsequent process to finish off the cul-de-sac.
I guess my question is just, is that something that needs to be written into the approval of this consent, or is it going to happen anyway? I guess, is there faith that that will happen?
I don't think they can develop it if it doesn't happen.
So exactly, that's why I was wondering.
Mr. McClure?
I'm not sure if Mr. Perrin wanted to speak to that. I know he's been in part of some of the discussions with the applicant. I know that we have meetings coming up to talk about the further processes that will be required. So it is a known, I guess, developer in the municipality that's looking to finish it off, similar to what they did to the north. So we don't have any concerns with that, but I'm not too sure if Mr. Perrin would like to clarify anything else.
Go ahead, Mr. Perrin.
Yeah, through you, your worship, there's no need to put any further restrictions within the recommendation or the resolution rather. As Mr. McClure stated, this is purely for land assembly. Right now, there's no frontage of either one of those three parcels, the north lot or the south lot, or the proposed severed lot on a public street. There's a 1 foot reserve at the end of Lexington that's in the name of the city of St. Thomas. So that's restricting access. So that the next step is to, now that if this goes through, they've assembled the lands, and then there's a couple of steps to sever the lot fabric as well as to convey frontage to a public street. So this is the first step of the process to allow for the land assembly, which will then provide the ability to create the 3 pie-shaped lots at the end.
One question, I was concerned with the pie-shaped lots, even the ones on Steeplechase there. Must be fun to determine the taxes with a small section of each lot in the city. It's an interesting dilemma there. Any other questions on this one? If not, would you read the motion, please?
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Fair, that report CEP 0722 re 61 Coulter Ave, lot 68, plan 251 be received for information, and that council has no objections to consent application E 1322, Stephen and Jennifer Prance and Mary Keagan, 61 Coulter Ave, subject to the following recommended conditions. The applicants enter into a development agreement with the municipality of Central Elgin with respect to administrative, financial, legal, and technical matters. The payment of cash in lieu of the dedication of 5% of the land for parkland purposes. The municipality of Central Elgin be provided with a copy of the reference plan, and a drainage reassessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Cravit?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes.
The resolution carries.
Thank you. And now the consent application for 42595 Walnut Street. Does anyone have any questions on this one? Councillor Kravitz.
Thank you. Mr. McClure, 6 years ago, this same property came up and we passed a bylaw which allowed one house and one outbuilding on this property. And now the applicant is asking for a second house on this same property by severing the one lot. So what happens to the old bylaw that was passed allowing only one house and one outbuilding?
Go ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to Councillor Kravitz. At the moment, essentially the zoning that's on the property won't need to be addressed, given that there are the lot area requirements that were put in place for that parcel of land still meet the minimums. So there's nothing that needs to be dealt there, but they will need to address the new parcel of land to deal with the zoning for the severed parcel. But it does meet all the minimum requirements as for the residential zone, so it's not a concern.
Councillor Kravitz, go ahead.
So the minimum requirements, the 18.11 meters of frontage, what's that roughly in feet?
60, 55.
60.
15.
It's under 60 feet.
Just under.
So is this in any way setting a precedent where other properties within the hamlet of Union that have a frontage of, say, 120 or 110 feet will be able to sever their lots into two parcels?
There's a number of, I guess, other policies that would prohibit kind of small lot development within Union. I know we have received applications in the past, but until such time that full municipal services are within the community, the private on-site servicing policies of the official plan would provide limitations onto how small a lot you could create within Union, given the fact that you would need to be able to provide 100% contingency area for a traditional septic system. So you need to be able to accommodate an area for two systems. The fact that the this parcel itself is so large is not, yeah, is what's allowing them to go forward with this.
Because of the length of the property, that's the justification on that.
Yes, it meets all the minimum area requirements for the zone. So there are no concerns with respect to servicing.
And my understanding is that they probably couldn't do this again, that this is the last one they could do unless they were going to do it.
That is correct. We did bring forward through the consultation process and discussions with the applicant that by ultimately severing off this parcel, they also limit the future ability to develop the larger parcel of land, because it limits it to only one entrance point. So there's only certain aspects that, or I guess densities or whatever, that could be provided within there if there were ever to be an application. Further, there's the lands that themselves are covered mainly by the Kettle Creek Conservation Regulation limits. So there's very limited potential based on what's currently there in the larger parcel.
Yeah, thank you. I was just asking, I had a resident asking me about the condition that only one building could be put on that property, and that's what was passed 6 years ago, and that was their concern. So, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that report CP 0822 read 42595 Walnut Street be received for information, and that council has no objection to consent application E0822 Rodney and Trudy Malloy 42595 Walnut Street, subject to the following recommended conditions: approval of a zoning bylaw amendment to place the severed lot in a R1 zone. The applicant enters into an agreement with the Municipality of Central Elgin to address administrative, technical, legal, and financial matters relative to the development of the subject lands. The payment of cash in lieu of the dedication of 5% of ownership for parkland purposes. A copy of the reference plan be provided to the Municipality of Central Elgin, and a drainage reassessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz?
No.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. I think the next report's probably one of the most exciting for us tonight anyway. It was the Chief Administrative Officer report on the Dominion of Canada building. Questions and comments, please. Councillor Rowe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just for the record, I guess, and staff is aware, I'm just still concerned about the location of the easement, but they have indicated that that's still under review and it's still early, so it may change, but it just doesn't feel right to me.
Okay. But it is exciting to finally see something happening. After all, we've been working on this for several years, so. Would you read the motion then, please?
Certainly, the motion reads, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that report CO 1022 read Dominion of Canada building be received for information, and that staff be directed to bring forward a Dominion of Canada indenture and option to purchase agreement for council's consideration.
Call the vote.
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook? Councillor Cook? Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Now the Chief Administrative Officer report on the public sector salary disclosures. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Would you read the motion, please?
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Rowe, seconded by Councillor Fair, that council receive report CAO 1222 B 2021 public sector salary disclosure for information.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook? Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Now for the Director of Infrastructure and Community Service report on the governance of the EAPWSS. Anyway, the water system, the Elgin area primary water supply system. Questions and comments, please. Deputy Mayor Marks.
I have my opinion. I'm looking at option one, but I'd like to hear from our representative on the water board, his opinion, please.
Go ahead,
I think.
Councillor Kravitz.
Yeah, and being at the meetings, what they were trying to do was amalgamate the two boards to make a model, like a business model after it, and something like the Thames Valley School Board, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many amalgamated boards that we can look at. It's working the way it is currently. We have no issues. There was issues that they were talking about how it would affect the municipality of Central Elgin's debt carrying capacity, which it does not. A couple other local municipalities have already passed a resolution saying that they prefer the option of doing nothing and remaining the status quo. And I think, in my opinion, and Mr. Brooks was at the meetings as well. In my opinion, I believe it's best that we continue as we are. It's working the way it is. We don't have issues, and it would be hard to get buy-in, especially from the Northern, from the Huron board, because of the different rate structure and different debt loads. We're not going to get 100% buy-in. It has to be 100% buy-in. So to continue these meetings, it's a exercise in frustration, in my opinion.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
That's the response I expected. I agree with it. If Councillor Kravitz wanted to make that motion, I'd be happy to second it.
I assume Mrs. Wilson has a motion here already. Do you have a mover and seconder?
No, we were
Okay.
just going to wait for council's discussion.
Okay.
I would move option one if there's any more questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Councillor Rowe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, and I do agree with Councillor Kravitz, but there's really two layers that could happen, because you could choose one of those three options for each of the Lake Huron board and the Elgin primary board, or you do that at the higher level to combine those two. So in the resolution, I guess if council would agree, just to be clear that it is for both of those options, not just one or the other, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because the two were, one was a complete amalgamation of the two boards. The other one was this municipal services board. And they'd still be two separate entities within that format. It was confusion at best at times at the meeting. So I believe just leaving the status quo is all that is required in the resolution. I don't think we have to stipulate either or, but
I guess I was just wondering if anyone would come back to the water boards and make a similar request at a different layer within that organization is all.
yeah, I don't think
Think
that,
so?
I don't think that would happen because both the administration is done through the City of London on these two boards currently. And they take care of both the Huron and the Elgin primary board. All the administration is done there. So everything is done within London administratively. So I don't know who would request that
Okay.
approach. I think it'd be hard for somebody to ask that.
Okay, if there's confidence, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, so it's option one and Councillor Kravitz is moving and Deputy Mayor Marks is second.
Option one, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yes.
So we continue with the current board structure.
Oh, sorry, I wrote it down in my notes the other way around. I apologize. Yes, option one.
Would you call the vote then, please?
I'll read the motion first, Madam.
I'm sorry, yes.
Moved by Councillor Kravitz, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that report CSO 422, Elgin area primary water supply system governance report be received for information, and that council supports option one as per said report regarding governance of the system. And further, that staff be directed to provide a copy of this resolution to the Elgin area primary water supply system steering committee members.
Thank you. Now would you call the vote?
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook? Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Now we're moving on to Director of Financial Services Treasurer's reports. And the first one is on the development charges annual continuity statement. Does anyone have any questions on this one? Seeing none, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that report DFS 0622 redevelopment charges annual continuity statement be received for information.
Call the vote.
Councillor Rowe,
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook, Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Now, the East Side Development Area Environmental Assessment. This is we went out for this, and these are the recommended company. And I think maybe Mr. Shipway, would you like to note something about this? Or you had told me before, this is definitely under budget, so.
Yes, this is an addition to the budget, but originally it was projected around 270, 275. So it came in at an appropriate level, and as outlined in the report, Stantec has done a lot of work with the municipality, and through their proposal, it was evident they've done a lot of legwork on this in advance of submitting the proposal. So it's an exciting opportunity for the East Side development area and the municipality, specifically the employment lands, and an effort for diversification of the tax base to include more industrial and commercial properties.
Which do bring in some benefits. Any questions on this one? Yes, Councillor Fair.
I just wondered, what are the actual boundaries of the Seaside development area?
Mr. Barron, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair. So the East Side Development Area includes Eastwood subdivision, as well as the employment lands that lie north and south of Highway 3 over to Yarmouth Center Road, as well as the employment lands are identified in the municipality's official plan in and around the airport.
Anyone else have any questions? If not, would you call them or read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Rowe, seconded by Councillor Fair, that report DFS 0722 East Side Development Area Environmental Assessment be received this information, and that council accept the proposals and for 2022-01 environmental assessment, $622.73 plus all applicable taxes.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Rowe,
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook, Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Now the report on council remuneration. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about this one? Seeing none, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that council receive report DFS 0822 2021 statement of remuneration and expenses for council members for information.
Call the vote.
Councillor Rowe,
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook,
Yes.
Councillor Fair,
Yes.
Councillor Wynn,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks,
Yes.
and Mayor Martin.
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. And the final one under the Director of Financial Services, the Port Stanley Sewage Lagoon Treatment Plant Improvements. Questions, concerns? Being no questions, I'm sorry, go ahead, Councillor Fair.
I just wondered, it says that it was in consultation with the original consulting engineer. And this plant is a long-term asset. I'm wondering, is there a problem with the design that's causing this somewhat of a breakdown from 2020? And I'm just wondering, is there any kind of warranty or anything if it's a breakdown in design?
Mr. Brooks, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Mayor. The warranty on the work for the plant expired in 2019. So this, the majority or I would say a portion of this work is due to high levels of hydrogen sulfide in the screen and grit tanks. So part of the works that are incorporated here are to upsize the exhaust fans to help remove some of that hydrogen sulfide, which has caused increased corrosion on the screen and grit tanks. So the screen and grit tanks will also be removed and pickled, cleaned, and with the addition of the new blowers in there, it should help with the corrosion happening there. So.
That's a very similar question that I did earlier too. So folks. Yes, go ahead.
I was just wondering if there was any flaw in the design. That's why I was asking the question.
Thank you.
I would suggest that we're making an improvement to the design with the addition of the additional blowers. There were blowers installed to exhaust some of that hydrogen sulfide, but we're seeing higher levels than what was thought. So this improvement will help.
Any other questions or concerns? If not, would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Rowe, second by Deputy Mayor Marks, that report DFS 0922, report Stanley sewage treatment plant improvements be received as information, and that council award the repair work at the Port Stanley sewage treatment plant to Xterra Construction Inc. in the amount of $190,000, $290,250, plus all applicable taxes. And further, that council approved the transfer of $50,000 from the sanitary sewer reserve to the 2022 capital budget.
Call the vote then, please.
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Credit?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
yes,
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Now Director of Asset Management and Development Services, the cash in lieu of parkland report. Any questions? Two, okay, go ahead, Councillor Rowe and then Councillor Kravitz.
Let's go first. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So forgive me, staff, but I will ask again, the 12,500 per lot that's suggested, there's a good rationale for coming up with that amount. I just can't get my head around why it's not the greater of 12,500 or 5% of the appraised value. Unless there is just that flexibility that's meant to be built in so that if the prices go up or down, especially, then the 5% would kick in. I don't know how you decide what the deciding factor is to choose one or the other.
Mr. Perrin?
So the 12,500 per lot would not apply to like a plan of subdivision that has 56 lots in it, for example, or 100 lots. The 12,500 applies to a consent application. So someone comes in, requests to sever a lot, an individual lot. That's where we're recommending to council their consideration to go from $2,000 of cash in lieu of parkland to 12,500 to go to a 5% value. That in order to establish the value of the lot, you actually have to undertake an appraisal by a certified appraiser, which order of magnitude is $6,000 to $8,000 to do that. And that would be at the proponent, the developer's expense, which is an individual landowner in this case. And then the cash in lieu would be calculated on top of that. The 12,500 is actually the less expense to the person severing the lot than if it was based on a 5% of the value of the land, as a result of an appraisal. So you could end up with still cash in lieu of parkland of 12,500, but then the applicant would also incur the cost of an appraisal, which would be $6,000 to $8,000. So this is to try to streamline the process a little bit, as well as gain some cost for the individual severing the lot. If they're severing 2 or 3 lots, they may be interested in undertaking the appraisal, but that's entirely their choice. Your bylaw right now says that up to 4 lots, then it's a price per lot.
Go ahead, Councillor Rowe.
Madam Mayor. No, it makes perfectly good sense. I guess I was just thinking that there are some single lots out there that are going to be valued at at varying prices and probably in some cases more than the 225 or the 250 that's used in the example. So as long as the rest of council is comfortable with that sort of minimum base, I can be as well. I just wondered if there needed to be something in there to allow for something greater than 12.5 if the land prices continue to rise.
Mr. Barron.
I would suggest the 12.5. We can revisit that annually if we see land prices escalate beyond what we've seen. Like the report states, this $2,000 has not been revisited for quite some time.
And Councillor Kravitz, you had a question.
Just gonna ask if this can be indexed as well, this 12.5, so it's not stuck in the same 2,000 like it was before? Is that within
That
recommendation?
that is an option that if council wishes, we could do that. Based on consumer price index for housing, possibly.
But lots may well go higher than consumer price index
That's
too.
right.
Yeah, so that's why I think visiting it annually is probably better than going with at least that would be my opinion. Someone over here, all right, sorry, Mr. Schiffway wanted to speak and then Councillor Fair.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I was just going to speak a little bit to that annually the municipality indexes the development charges. And at that time, the Development Services Department could also review this bylaw, just an annual reminder, and contrast CPI with local land prices. And then if it merits it, bring it back to council for consideration. We can workflow that so it won't be missed.
Thank you. Councillor Fair, you want?
I was just going to say, I agree that lot prices and housing prices have gone up much different than inflation. I think if we jumped on the inflation bandwagon, we'd be on the lowest one. So I think we should go with what the markets are doing.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
I do not disagree with anything that's been said today, but going from a $2,000 fee to a $12,500 fee overnight, I just wonder, is there any appetite to phase that in? That's 5-time increase. I know that question will be asked. I'm just, like I said, I'm not disagreeing. I just like to have, I can at least say I had a discussion on it.
Go ahead, Councillor Kravitz.
It's been 25 years since it's been looked at. I think we're fine with the 12.5.
Well, I was going to say prices on lots have skyrocketed in the last 5 years, even let alone the last 25.
Like I said, I just asked the question, didn't say I was disagreeing.
Just
Fair.
maybe a comment, Madam Mayor. Typically, a severed lot is a lot that's created already on an existing street. There's virtually no financial outlay by the developer to create that lot. So they have the land, yes. Their services are usually in front. They're going to be private on-site services, so there's virtually no financial exposure, for the proponent of a severed lot, and they're passing that cost along.
Thank you. Would you read the motion, please?
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that report AMDS 0522 recapture of parkland contribution be received for information, and that council direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to amend the cash in lieu of parkland fee to $12,500 per lot for consent applications effective March 1st, 2022.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please?
Councillor Rowe?
Yes.
Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
yes,
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
yes,
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes,
And Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And I probably should have said it sooner because both Councillor Cook and Councillor Wynn don't have video on. So if you guys want to ask a question, either one of you, and you don't want to put the hand up, just go ahead and speak, please. I would, so that I recognize that you'd like to speak on something.
thank you.
Bylaws. Any questions on any of the bylaws before we move to take them? Councillor Fair.
The only thing, if you could, if I could have 2691 separately as a vote.
Thank you. Okay, would you read the first motion then, Mrs. Wilson?
Yes, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Rowe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that bylaws 2689, 2690, 2692, 2693, 2694 be read a first and a second time.
Call the vote?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. Second one on that.
Next motion on the bylaws, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that bylaws 2689, 2690, 2692, 2693, and 2694 be read a third time and finally passed.
Call the vote?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz,
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn? Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. And now motion on the other bylaw.
2691 separately.
Yes.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Marks, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that bylaw 2691 be read a first and a second time.
Call the vote, please.
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz? Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
No.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The resolution carries.
go ahead. Final motion on that one.
Moved by Councillor Rowe, Deputy Mayor Marks, that bylaw 2691 be read a third time and finally passed.
Do you call the vote on that?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
No.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The resolution carries.
thank you. Does anyone have any other business or notice of motion, public notice? Seeing none, would you read the motion to move us into closed, please?
Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Rowe, that council proceed into closed session at 7:37 PM in order to address a matter pertaining to a position plan criteria or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board.
Thank you. Call the vote?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
The motion carries.
thank you. We'll give you a moment to.
To get rid of wet.
Okay, you're good.
Go ahead, please. The motion from out of closed.
Motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Rowe, seconded by Councillor Fair, that confidential closed session item number 2 be received as information and that staff proceed as directed by council.
Call the vote?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz? Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn? Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. And now the confirmatory bylaw.
The motion reads, Madam Mayor, moved by Councillor Fair, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that report that bylaw 2688 be read a first and a second time.
Call the vote?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn? Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries. Last motion on the bylaw, Madam Mayor,
go ahead.
moved by Councillor Rowe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Marks, that bylaw 2688 be read a third time and finally passed.
Call the vote?
Councillor Rowe? Yes. Councillor Kravitz?
Yes.
Councillor Cook?
Yes.
Councillor Fair?
Yes.
Councillor Wynn?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks?
Yes.
And Mayor Martin?
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. And the final motion?
Motion reads moved by Counselor Rowe, seconded by Counselor Fair, that the regular planning meeting of council dated Monday, February the 28th, 2022, be adjourned at 8:17 PM, and the next regular meeting of council is scheduled for Monday, March the 14th, 2022, at 7 PM.
Call the vote.
Counselor Rowe. Yes. Counselor Cravitz.
Yes.
Counselor Cook.
Yes.
Counselor Fair.
Yes.
Counselor Wynn.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Marks.
Yes.
And Mayor Martin.
Yes,
Resolution carries.
thank you. There were some really good